How do you deal with social anxiety if you're an empathic person? If you are someone who's very sensitive to energy and can be quite impressionable, you know, in other words, if you walk into like a negative environment, you immediately, automatically and uncontrollably just pick up on the negative energy and you sort of feel it in your body, right? You feel the anxiety of the place, the anxiety of the people. On the other hand, you might walk into a beautiful place, like a beautiful garden with flowers, and it's nice and it's sunny. And because you're such an empathic person, because you are very sensitive to the subtle energies, you find yourself in joy, you find yourself happy, you find yourself just happy because you're in this happy place. You can sense the happiness of the flowers, of the fruits, of the vegetables, of the garden, of the people who garden this garden, right? So, you know, that's what an empath is. An empath is just someone who's extra sensitive of the environment around them. And because of it, as an empathic person, you are inevitably going to come across social anxiety, finding yourself anxious in social situations. That is just bound to happen if you're an empathic person. So, first of all, I have two things for you here. I have a short-term solution for this problem, and I have a long-term solution. But in order for you to understand both solutions, understand social anxiety, understand or at least attempt to question and try to dig deeper into what is a human society, right? Because social anxiety, I mean, it's kind of obvious. Social anxiety, being in a society, at least the human society in this day and age, causes you anxiety. And that's the bigger question here. Why is it that I'm feeling anxious when all these people around me are also human beings and I'm like supposed to feel good around my fellow human beings, right? Why am I feeling anxious? Why is this anxiety coming to me? Why am I feeling it? Why am I picking up on it? Is it me? Is it the society? Like, is there somebody to blame here? What's going on? Well. It is my opinion that 95% of all human societies in this day and age, in this present moment, are diseased and sick and pathological. That is my opinion. Okay, I can't tell you like that is the objective fact. It is my subjective opinion that 95% of all human societies that exist on the planet in this day and age, capitalist and communist, religious and secular, all of it, the whole bit, the whole charade, I believe 95% of it is sick and pathological, and it is negative. It is full of negative energy and negative vibrations. And these negative vibrations causes everyone within the society to feel negative. And there is a mass consciousness to just about any form of organization. So to give you an example, you guys, the subscribers of this channel, the regular viewers of this channel, there is a certain mass consciousness associated with people who watch this channel regularly, people who comment regularly, of the person that stands behind the content. There is a certain expectation, there is a certain vibration, a certain mass consciousness. I'm not talking about good and bad here. I'm not placing moral judgments. I'm simply saying that there's a certain vibration and a certain expectation that comes with being part of this community, and that is a small growing community. In the same way, if you look at a team, for example, a sport team, right? Like let's say, for example, Barcelona is playing Real Madrid. There is a certain mass consciousness to the Barcelona team. They have their own certain expectations, playing style, moral code, whatever. Same thing with the people in Real Madrid. And you can take this on a micro level, and you can take this on a macro level. So you'll see this on a micro level. So for example, for sport teams, individual sport teams have their own mass consciousness. But if you step outside of it a little bit, you will see that, for example, the Spanish league have their own mass consciousness. So that includes Barcelona, Madrid, Atletico Madrid, all the other teams. And then the Premier League, which is the English league, have their own mass consciousness. So it kind of goes micro and macro, micro and macro, micro and macro for infinity, just like fractal patterns, just like reality, which is infinity, which is infinite. So for a human society, there is a certain mass consciousness. There is a certain, what you can call, what has been referred to as consensus reality. So if you live in, say, United States of America, and if you live in New York City, there is a certain mass consciousness to being and living in New York City. And if you live in LA, there's a certain mass consciousness, a certain expectation, a certain software, a certain program that becomes the consensus reality of people living in LA, people living in New York. And then for the country as a whole, because the federal government and the laws and certain things form the mass consciousness of the people living in the country, right? Well, my opinion is most of the human societies that exist as they exist right now, with the laws and the regulations and the mass media and the food and all the values of 95% of human societies, in my opinion, are designed to keep you stuck, to keep the human being stuck from elevating his and her own consciousness. That's my opinion. So, as a result, you are inevitably, as a natural byproduct, you're going to have social anxiety. You absolutely will have social anxiety. That's just an inescapable part, a natural byproduct of being in a modern human society that basically doesn't give a shit about its connection to the earth, doesn't give a shit about its connection to the plants, doesn't give a shit about its connections to other animals. And if you don't give a shit about your connection, your immediate connection, the air you breathe, which is basically from trees, really. I mean, you owe this oxygen that you breathe to trees. If you don't give a shit, how are you going to give a shit about your fellow human beings? You don't give a shit. Because most of us are just consumers. We're consuming. We're consuming and raping and pillaging this earth. So then money, which, by the way, as of late, I've been come to a very healthy relationship with. So I'm not trying to bash money here. However, it becomes a problem when money becomes the main priority in a society, which is what basically is in like almost every modern human society now. And the ones that weren't so obsessed with material gain as the number one objective are now becoming that because of globalization. So whenever we have this ideal of consumerism as the number one thing, as opposed to, hey, you know, the whole money system and consuming is like, it's part of a good equation, but it's not the main priority. The main priority should be providing value. That's a different video though. That's a different video. I'm running off tangents here. But to go back, okay, so we've gone on a lot of tangents here. To go back, okay, if we don't give a shit about the earth, if we don't give a shit about our immediate connection to the environment, to nature, we're not going to give a shit about our fellow human beings because we just want to make money. Like all of us just want to You know, I gotta go. Where are you going? Where are you going? I'm going to work. What are you doing for? I gotta make money, man. I gotta make money. It's like we're just so programmed that for this version of reality, right? So we've created this anxious human beings that are so stuck in their lower chakras. They're scared for their survival. They're scared. Fear. It's all fear. It's all fear-based. There's fear-mongering. So then the mass consciousness of the human societies, of these human societies that are run by fear, becomes negative and lower, resulting in the inevitable picking up of these lower vibrations, of this lower energy in the form of anxiety in the body and in the mind. So, understand that. Don't blame yourself for it. And in fact, I wouldn't go and try and look for solutions. Except for, this is such a paradoxical statement because I'm about to give you solutions. My solutions to the problem of social anxiety. And one of them, see how I'm such a bullshitter. So, the short-term solution, Saeed's short-term solution to the problem of social anxiety is, Earth is a school, and we're here to learn. And the very fact that you find yourself in a sickly, diseased, pathological society, the very fact that you find yourself feeling anxious because of it, means that you are exactly at the perfect time, at the perfect place, feeling the perfect, most appropriate emotions for you to experience in that moment, which means accept it and say, well, I'm feeling social and I'm feeling anxious. I have social anxiety. Okay. I accept what is. I have social anxiety. I'm not going to try and change it. I'm not even going to do anything. I'm just, here I am. I accept myself. I have social anxiety. This being in society makes me anxious. Good. First step is always acceptance. And then looking at the whole situation, looking at your existence on Earth as an opportunity to learn. It's a school. It's a school. Earth is a school. And if you look at things from a higher perspective, you see that everything's perfect. And you're always, 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 always exactly where you need to be. In every moment. If you're feeling anxious, you need to be feeling anxious right now. If you're feeling happy right now, you need to be feeling happy. If you're feeling suffering, you need to be feeling suffering. If you're feeling pain, you need to be feeling pain. If you're feeling pleasure, it's all perfect. If you look at it from like such a higher perspective, you're not even looking at it from human objective, from the lenses of human being anymore. You're just looking at it from the lenses of eternity. Then you see the perfection of everything. So then that means it's perfect. It's perfect. Everything's perfect. You're perfectly positioned in this current, present time, space continuum to feel anxious, to be in this sick and pathological society. Great. Great. Beautiful. Perfect. It's perfect. From that perspective, from the perspective of acceptance of what is, you can begin to learn all the lessons that you need to learn in this lifetime, in this incarnation, in this spawn. And you come to realize, actually, I'm exactly in the perfect time here. There's some karma that I have to sort out. There's some things that I have to sort out with some people. This is perfect. And that realization that you're exactly where you need to be right now, in the perfect time, in the perfect moment, with the perfect emotion, it's very cathartic. It will relieve you from a lot of things. The acceptance that comes with just being in acceptance with what is. That's my short-term solution to the problem of social anxiety. Accept what is, look at your situation and everything in your life as lessons, and Earth is a school. So then you ask yourself, what are some of the lessons here that I have to learn? You might be feeling anxious at work. That might be like a negative work environment, and you're feeling anxious, but because you understand, your higher nature understands that everything is always perfect as is, you start to say, well, what are some of my lessons that I need to learn in this current space-time continuum, in this current situation, in this sick society, what is there for me to learn here? Maybe you need to learn cooperation. Maybe you need to learn, I don't know. We all have different lessons to learn here. They all tie up back to love, right? So that's my short-term solution to the problem. Accepting of what is, and then looking at every situation that you're in right now, all your anxious situations, let it be at work, let it be in your relationships, let it be with just walking on the street, as an opportunity for you to learn to grow. Because everything is perfect. Not from a human perspective, but from eternity's perspective. From God consciousness perspective. Now, the longer term solution is get yourself out to nature. And when I say get yourself out to nature, I'm not saying go walk in nature. I'm saying have a longer term plan to live in an area that embraces nature, embraces connection to Mother Earth. That's the longer term solution. Because so as long as you're in a city, you are really going to continue to subject yourself to disease and sickness and, really. You're always going to continuously be subjecting yourself to negative energy, negative vibrations. And sure, you might be a strong person. You might tell yourself, okay, I can handle these negative vibrations, which is what I tell myself, right? And honestly, objectively speaking, if I'm looking at myself as if I'm not Saeed, if I'm completely looking at it from an alien's perspective, I do a pretty good job at taking in negative energy and sort of turning it into positive energy. I do a pretty good job at it. Not perfect, but I do a pretty good job. But I can tell you something. I don't want to keep subjecting myself to be living in a city for the rest of my life. I love Mother Earth. I love nature. I love the trees. I love the plants. Really, I love fruits and vegetables, and I love things that grow. I'm a hobbit. I'm a hobbit. Straight up, I am a hobbit from Lord of the Rings. Okay? I am a fucking hobbit. I love plants, I love nature, I love trees, I love greenery, and it makes me feel happy, and it makes me feel beautiful, and it makes me feel wonderful from the inside. It makes my balls tingle. It makes my heart just light up with love. And my long-term solution for myself is to go live in nature, right? Go live in nature, go live in somewhere that is not exactly secluded per se, but it is in nature, and grow my own food. Organic food, vegetables, plant the vegetables, plant the fruits myself and pick them out when they're ripe and live somewhere warm. And I'm working on all these things, right? But that's why I say this is a longer term approach. And that might be a longer term approach for you as well. Because I think if you're a person watching up until this point, I'm assuming the description, the way I described how I feel in nature, probably agrees with you as well, right? You just feel good, you feel love, you feel joy, just having this connection with nature. And so as long as you're in a city, if that's going to be your longer term approach, you're always going to constantly be battling these negative vibrations and negative energies, right? And sure, you might be a Jedi in that sense, and you might be able to navigate through it. I know and just speaking for myself, I can do a good job at navigating through these negative vibrations and just kind of staying in a good mind state. But I don't want to keep doing that for the rest of my life. I want to just go and just be where I'm supposed to be, where Saeed's supposed to be. And in the longer term, my longer vision for myself is some kind of a farm, some kind of a place where I have my horse, I have horses, and I have a farm, and I'm growing my own food. And I'm working on that. I am working on all of these things. Okay? So maybe that is a longer term solution for you if you're someone who battles, if you're an empathic person, a sensitive person who is really sensitive to energies and is feeling these anxious vibrations in society, right? Because they're all around you, all over the place. All over the place. It's a negatively vibrating human society, global society. There's, you know how there's always a higher mass consciousness to everything. So say North America has a mass consciousness, South America has a mass consciousness, Asia has a mass consciousness, Middle East has a mass consciousness, Eastern Europe has a mass consciousness, right? But the overall human mass consciousness at the moment is unfortunately at a lower vibration, and it's been kept that way deliberately by the people who are in control, the people who are in charge. And they benefit off of it, they profit off of it materially, and they profit off of it energetically by feeding off our negative energy. Because human energy is so powerful, positive and negative. Both forms of human energy are very powerful. And the people who are in control, I guess they're Darth Vaders. They're called the Illuminati for a reason. They're illuminated, they're smart, they're woke. Okay? They just basically choose to side with the dark side of the Force. That's all it is. They're Darth Vader. Our dark brothers, if you will. And they benefit, so as long as the human mass consciousness, the global human society remains vibrating at a low vibration, then they benefit off of it energetically. So I think the tides are turning now, and I think it is time for what they call the age of Aquarius. I don't know shit about it, but I do feel like there is a shift in the consciousness of human beings, and I feel like we're now elevating. Now we're moving forward, we're moving ahead, the consciousness is elevating. And I think part of that elevation of consciousness is a movement back to living in harmonious relationship with the planet, with the Mother Earth, with the Gaia. So I think that's where I'm going to finish off this rant. Now, please, guys, in the comments, okay, I am making a request from here on in my videos for you guys to leave me comments to describe to me how you feel about this. How do you feel about this? How did this video resonate with you at all? Or am I just, because I'm always describing my own subjective experience of the universe, my own subjective reality of the universe. Did this resonate with you? And please, if it resonated with you, tell me exactly how it resonated with you. Give me situations from your real life where you felt anxious. Tell me what you're feeling. Please, this is a place where we share how we feel about things, about the world, right? It's a non-judgment place. It's a place of love, compassion. This is what this mass consciousness of this community is all about, right? So please, guys, share your experiences with social anxiety with me down below. I will read every single one of them. And that's it. God bless you all. Make sure to check out my book, 5 Powerful Habits to Dominate Life in All Areas. It's for free. It's 19 pages. And I really think it will help you tremendously dealing with social anxiety. So either go to 5powerfulhabits.com or just go to the link in the comments or the description. Okay? Really, really dope. 19 pages. They'll change your life. They'll definitely make your social anxiety a little bit better if you read and apply. Other than that, leave me comments, guys. I want to hear from you. God bless you all. I love every single one of you guys. But don't forget to subscribe or you're gonna sleep with the fishes.